Progress to report on other cases too later in the programme. The island of Orkney is more isolated than almost anywhere in Britain. 45 minutes by ferry from John O'Groats off the northern tip of Scotland. It's not the sort of place you'd expect to see a major crime. And when one happened there this summer, it was a crime that would have been extraordinary anywhere.
Would you like to sit down? Now, what would you like to drink tonight?
Okay, I think I remember who's got what. 1 chicken tikka.
R.I.P.
1 lamb tikka.
I ordered that.
Very good. And who's the chicken chat?
Oh, that's mine, thanks.
Keep away! Bloody shoot us too!
When the gunmen came in, it looked like a fancy dress. When the gun went off and I realised it wasn't, it was a horrible thought to have your children there and not be able to do anything about it.
Mahmood was 26 and from a large and successful family. This was his second time working at the restaurant in Kirkwall, having seen the job advertised in London.
We had a murder in Mummy Tas Indian restaurant, Bridge Street, Kirkwall.
I want you to preserve the scene, Bob. Make sure nothing's disturbed. I'll get an inquiry team together and get to you as soon as possible. The Northern Constabulary covers a vast area. Orkney hadn't had a murder for 25 years, and it was necessary to provide support from the mainland. A helicopter wasn't available to me, making it necessary to travel by road 150 miles from Inverness to John O'Groats. We then had to travel by ferry across the Pentland Firth. That's the nature of policing in the Highlands and Islands. So how is the Holmes computer link to the mainland going?
It's almost ready, sir.
And what do we know about Mr. Mahmood, Angus?
We know that he's been on the island for about 6 weeks. He was here last year for about 9 months, and at that time he was also working in the Mummy-Tas restaurant.
Anything more you would like?
Not meantime.
Not just now?
He has no enemies that we can find, and we do know he has got a brother who lives in London.
He was a very brilliant student. The family wanted him to carry on with his studies. We cannot think why it should have happened to him. He was a very kind-hearted person. The sad thing is that he got killed at a time when he was about to go home and get married to his girlfriend.
We require teams to carry out inquiries at our airport and ferry terminals, to conduct house-to-house investigations in Kirkwall, and to re-interview all of our main witnesses.
Right, Marianne, what I want you to do for me is just if you could go over the events that happened in the restaurant, just in your own words.
I was showing 2 customers to the table, and I was just about to go back up to the bar for the menus when the door opened behind me, and I turned round to see who it was. And a man with a mask on came in. At first I thought it was a joke, but then I saw the gun in his hand as he went past me. He went up to the table where Shamsuddin was serving the customers, and I heard a shot. I thought he was in to shoot everyone. And I had the door open behind me, and he came out and went down the other lane. And the last I saw him was going down the narrow lane at the back of the restaurant.
We were driving down Junction Road at about 7:15, and as we turned into the car park, I saw a guy out of the window on my left. He had on dark clothes and had mossy brown hair.
As you're aware, the man that went into the restaurant was wearing a hooded sweat top, and he had a distinctive stoop. Down here at Junction Road Toilets, which is just down behind the restaurant, at about 7:10, we have a sighting of a man hanging about outside the toilets shortly before the murder.
Well, I was driving along Junction Road, heading towards the pier, and I was about to turn into the Albert Street car park when I noticed this chap just outside the door of the toilets on my left. He was wearing a hooded top, and I noticed he was wearing a balaclava underneath that.
Also, there was someone who saw a man walking from the direction of the toilets across the road in the direction of the restaurant.
George, the people of Orkney are very concerned about this murder. How can they help you with your inquiries?
I'm keen for anyone who was in Kirkwall on the day of the murder and who may have seen anything suspicious to come forward.
Can you tell me what time of day that was at?
It was about 5:10, and I was about to go down the lane past the Mahmood's restaurant when this guy got down in front of me, and he turned to stare at me, which I thought was quite frightening at the time. The way he held his arms was like a bodybuilder. He was in his 20s, about 28 I would say, and his height would have been about 5 feet 8 to 6 feet.
This sighting is of particular interest because of the similar physical characteristics to the person seen in and around the restaurant. But at the end of the day, we still haven't established a motive for this crime.
I'm always looking for an exit.
Daddy, I can't sleep.
It's okay, Daddy will take you through and tuck you in.
The effect it's had on our family since the incident is one of distrust. We have had difficulty going out in the evenings. Things are getting better now, and we hope the kids are getting back to normal. It's difficult to take in such a horrendous event.
George Goff, in the 4 months since this happened, you've obviously made extensive inquiries in the Orkneys. Now, how can a national appeal help?
Well, we hope to reach the people of Orkney with a visual reconstruction through Crimewatch, which may help to jog their memories. Also, of course, the programme will reach the remainder of Britain, where we hope to contact anyone who has been on holiday in Orkney. Orkney and Kirkwall in particular has a very industrious holiday trade in the summer.
Now, I know you haven't got a motive, but there was a possibility of motive in as much as the day before the murder there was a sighting of an argument going on at the restaurant, the door of the restaurant.
Yeah, that's correct. About 8:30 the night before the murder, witnesses described to us that two people were arguing with the now deceased Mahmood outside the restaurant in the doorway of the restaurant. Now that may have an innocent explanation, but our inquiry has failed to trace these people.
Now, that was Wednesday the 1st of June. If we roll back 2 weeks, there was another sighting, this time rather more remarkable, in woods which are part of the town. Describe what happened there.
Well, it's an area known as Parkdale Woods, which is within the town of Kirkwall. Our witnesses described to us that a man was carrying out what appeared to be commando manoeuvres within the woods for no obvious good reason. Again, that might be an innocent pastime, but we would like to hear from the person to have it explained.
Obviously, then, we also need to find any other witnesses to the man outside the public lavatories. And we should explain that while we were filming, it was raining. Actually, the day of the murder, the 2nd of June, it was one of the hottest evenings of the year. Yeah. So his dress would have been most extraordinary, having a collar up, let alone a balaclava.
That's correct. The weather was so good that there's no good reason for having a hood up.
And the bodybuilder in the alleyway, now there's really nothing much to connect him with the crime. You really want to eliminate this man.
Again, as we've seen from the reconstruction, this man is of great interest to us, and unfortunately our inquiries to date have failed to trace him, and he hasn't come forward. If he recognises himself from the programme and is prepared to come forward with an explanation, that will be very helpful.